I'm Azmyth, for all you that don't know me out there. And for all that do, howdy. Here to share a stream of consciousness. I just got a random hit while I was cutting up some tomatoes that maybe it would be a good time to just go and record some thoughts, which I've never done before. I've definitely recorded little videos for the turpentine stuff that I've been doing, research, and other random things, other past industries and things that I've been interested in. Anyways, I was just making a salad and cutting through a bunch of tomatoes and realizing how there's been many times in my life when I didn't appreciate the time that I have or the time that I took with my food. And the amount of energy that time allows when you're sharing that space with your food and you're loving what you're doing. You know, cooks out there, chefs, obviously, they do this all day long. They love what they do, and it's a magical experience, and we all get to enjoy and savor in their delights and their passions. It's just interesting in a day where we rush around and we don't want to take the time to cook our own food. You know, people go to fast food and they want other people to do things for them because our lives are so important. And our lives are very important. Don't get me wrong. But our lives are so important that we need to take more time for ourselves and our friends and our family and the experiences and the things that we decide to do, all the way down to the food, because everything starts in our stomach. You know, a lot of things that I'm going to be sharing with everybody have to do with health and just awareness of oneself and everything that's going on in the world, and all the things that we get subjected to and subject ourselves to. It's our environments. You know, we'll talk about epigenetics, I'm sure, at some point as well. And so it's really important to take everything into consideration when you're doing these things. And even a simple little task like cutting tomatoes and making a salad or whatever your thing is, if you like to chef up a steak, taking the time with that aside from your daily chores and actually being there. You know, so many people will talk about being in the now instead of thinking about the future or thinking about the past, where most of our brains exist almost at all times. Being in the now, in the present state, whether you're doing stretching, you're working out, you're in your business with a friend, listening and communicating, whatever it is, learning how to stay within that parameter that construct and that timing that you've allowed for that space, and just thinking about what that task is and not letting our brains run away with us, thinking about the future, creating realities that have not happened yet or might be possible that usually are detrimental because the things that we think about are oftentimes so non-positive and non-beneficial, or we live in the past. But I don't need to talk about that too much. Let's stay in the now, right? Stay right here in the now. It's so cool when you actually take the time to work with your food and the energy that it creates. There's a consciousness that comes with that. You know, if you really start getting down to the food that you're eating and watching what your intake is and wanting to be healthy in your body and wanting to be more alive and vibrant and be conscious of the things that you're taking in, conscious of the things that companies that are prepackaging things for us, that there's a lot of great and amazing prepackaged food, and I thank you so much for the people that have integrity out there and care for the planet and care for the plants and the animals and the things that come into consideration when creating the products, all the way down to the packaging that's used. We need to be more aware of the things that we're doing on this planet. It's so imperative that we are more aware of this, and aware of our impact that we're having not only on the planet but on each other. You know, it's the analogy of taking our Earth as the spaceship, right? We're on a big spaceship hurtling through space, and it's the only spaceship we got. It's an awesome spaceship, and there's billions of us on here, and the mass majority of these billions are just running amok on this spaceship. So let's take the idea of the Earth, and it's a spaceship. We're inside a spaceship. If you're a Trekkie, Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever, all that stuff. We got life support systems. We got the trash system. We have the what do they call it in Star Trek? The the food replicator. They got the food replicator. You got all these things, these really neat technologies that, because the world is a gigantic, we are computers, right? Just gigantic, beautiful blue ball, whatever that means, for all you flat earthers and all those other concerns. Anyways, so talking about the spaceship like it's a thing in our creative space. And we're just running down the hallways and we're throwing our trash on the ground. We're not worrying about putting it in the trash compactor. We're taking the life support systems and we're running little machines in there that are spewing out engine fluid and gas and smoke and other chemicals, and we're just letting it go right into the air. We're not putting it through the filter system. Those would be the regulations that we need more strict regulations on. So thank you very much, EPA and all the administration going on right now. It's so awesome that you're just doing stuff for people that are corporations and all that jazz. But you get what I'm saying. So we're taking all this stuff and we're throwing it into our life support system. We're drinking all the water. We're selling the water off to other spaceships. And there's no other way to restock the water, right? There's no other way to get rid of the trash. We could shoot it out into space, but you shoot something out into space, I guarantee at some point it's going to hit somebody else. So that's not cool. Do you really want to hit somebody else? Do you really like throwing something out the window and having it hit somebody else's car window and break? I mean, that's what we're looking at, right? So it's really about taking the awareness that you're doing and what you're doing with your life and how you're interacting with the rest of the world. It's so imperative that we actually care about this, and that more people wake up to this, and that the people that do care about this learn how to share it and do our best to get that word out, which I know is out there with all the eco people and environmentalists and activists, and there's a lot of things being done. Everybody just needs to freaking change the conversation, change the context of the conversation that we're having, whether it's racial issues or whatever it is. If you stop talking about things and stop paying attention to them so much and just do what is positive and good and should be natural law, then things start making sense. Common sense, which is something so few people have these days, which is really, really sad, because it's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? Common and sense. We all have sense. We have 5 of them, maybe more. But this one that's a common sense, I think that's actually like the 8th sense or something, right? It needs to be put in there, or a half sense at this point. It's not common anymore, right? You look at other people like, how would you do that? Why would you do that to me? Because we're not listening to ourselves. We're not thinking about the things that we're thinking about. We're not paying attention to ourselves. We're not being in the now. We're not enjoying the moment. We're too worried about what's going to happen. We're too worried about what somebody's thinking about us. We're too worried about the world at large, which is something good to think about. It's that spaceship idea, right? But our world, our existence is all we have. Mine. Sadly, I have to say mine right now. Or I, or whatever you want to say. But at the end of the day, all you ever have is you. And so it has to be about you, slightly selfishly, because we have to start here. You know, it's that memes and the quotes and saying you got to love yourself before you can love anybody else. It's really true. So many humans are damaged because of the upbringings that they've had, the scenarios that they put themselves in, the environments that they put themselves in. The more people that I work with on healing levels to help them attain a higher level of health or awareness or whatever it is, the more I talk to these people, the more I realize that it really is stuff that we do to ourselves. A lot of people will talk about diseases, and there's a really cool thing that I was just told recently, and it's this guy said it, or somebody else, somebody said it, whoever wants to take credit for it, and he said that diseases, we're not here to heal our diseases. Our diseases are here to heal us, which makes so much sense, because once you start thinking about diseases as something that we've done to ourselves via environment, via relationships, via the jobs we've put ourselves in, career paths, via the food that we intake, right? How much sleep we get, all those things. Once you take that in, all of a sudden you go, wow. And you look at that picture, what's going on here? And you start realizing that we're doing it to ourselves. So all those people out there with your diseases and all the other things that you're contracting, ailments, disorders, issues, if you broke your arm, you fell over, oftentimes that's telling you, the universe is telling you to slow the fuck down and look at what you're doing and maybe change the path that you're on. Now those are all opportunities to make a change. to grow. Change is awesome. It's exciting. The unknown is so amazing. Fear is such a growth factor, and we need more of that for everybody. And we need to share that fear with other people openly. We need to be more emotional. We need to be more empathetic to each other. We need to be more understanding, and we need to listen more, because the more we listen, the more we quiet our own mind, the more we can actually hear what somebody's saying, the more we can actually interact with somebody equally and consciously and understandably. And it's so important. And my phone's gonna die, so I should probably stop right here. But anyways, there'll be a lot more thoughts for me, and just wanted to share that with everybody, that just be in the freaking now as much as you can. Catch yourself every single time you have a thought that you don't like, and remove it or replace it with something that's positive. And also just slow yourself down. Try meditation. It's awesome. If you can, even a couple minutes, whatever it is, just take more time for yourself. We all do. The world's going to be a lot better place if we take more time for ourselves and share a lot more love, because nothing beats love. Nothing at all.